please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I now call the School Board of Independent School District 544 to order. We'll begin by having the clerk take roll.
Kirby Anderson.
Present.
Kelly Graff.
Here.
Jenny Christensen.
Present.
Missy Hermes, present. Melanie Cole.
Present.
Stephen Vigasa.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. On our agenda, we have a slight modification. So please, excuse me, please remove Tindy Run from reports. And then we will be adjusting at the end of public meeting about a tax abatement request. So with that, is there a motion to approve an amended agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The agenda is approved, and we'll move on with resolution on acknowledgements. So these are thank yous to the following entities. Thank you to Minnesota Motor Company for their donation to the video production class at Kennedy Secondary School. Thank you to Lori Kettner for donating her time and alteration services to the music department at Kennedy Secondary School. Thank you to Otter Elementary PTO for their donations to the classrooms at McKinley and Cleveland Elementary Schools. And thank you to Roy and Ellen Anderson for their donation of fabric to the transition class at Kennedy Secondary School. Will someone offer that resolution and move for its adoption?
I'll offer the resolution and move for its adoption.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, will you please take roll?
Yes, Melanie Cole.
Yes.
Stephen Vigasa.
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Kelly Graff.
Yes.
Jenny Christensen.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. The resolution is adopted.
Very good, thank you. We have several reports tonight. We're going to begin with Nancy Reard, the Director of Special Ed. Good evening, Nancy.
Good evening.
And
Thank you
good
for having
morning.
me. Another exciting year off and rolling, never a dull moment, and just always lots of exciting things happening in special ed. So I would like to share a few things. I really feel like our district is very lucky to have had all of our certified teachers hired for the year. At the start of the year, when I meet with other directors and hear about things across other districts, I'm just really grateful for our new staff and our staff that is continuing to support our kids. So this year we did have 2 new special education teachers at the IQ Academy, Renee Russell and Sharon Deutscher, who both are doing an excellent job in a whole new format for instruction and just doing a great job. We also have Brady Tostenson and Veda Barrett at the high school who have gone through new teacher training with us and also have learned a lot about due process paperwork this year, and I'm doing a wonderful job. Jackie Shasky, this year we were really lucky to offer some virtual direct service for DHH, having a teacher that can actually meet with our students directly and supply those services. Although virtual, not ideal, hoping still we can find someone to do in-person services, but this has been a step in the right direction. We have Rachel Larson doing physical therapy from Lake Region Healthcare. This has been a phenomenal change for us, doing lots of direct service, really impactful with our kids. And so I was really grateful for her hire. Thanks to Jamie Lill for joining the DAPE team at McKinley. And then we started the year with 13 new special ed paraprofessionals, and I'm super grateful for their stability and sticking with the position. And you may have noticed we haven't had a resignation in a couple weeks, and so that stability has been very impactful with kids. Oh, there.
There's a little delay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, sorry about that. One thing we've been working really hard on, I have to do a shout out to Leslie Schaefer for helping with the child count. So as you know, it's a requirement to the state of Minnesota for us to report our child count. The December 1 child count is for our resident students that receive special education services. Last year was my first year to do that, and we had 566 students in our residency, in our residence that were receiving services this year. It's 555. That isn't the active number of IEPs we have in the district. We have 654 last year and 659 this year. That additional difference is mostly IQ Academy, but we do have students open and enrolled receiving special education services in the district as well. The breakdown for that is kind of interesting over the years. These are the primary disabilities of students in our school district. The primary disability with the most frequency has always been and continues to be specific learning disabilities. Interesting though, other health has moved into third place over EBD, and then also speech as a primary disability being our second most frequent. Just a little interesting data to look at. I wanted to give you a little update on our Setting 3 classroom. Right now at Adams, we have 9 students that are receiving direct services from McKenna Peterson. 6 of those are out in the mainstream and working their way out, which is really exciting. At Kennedy, we have 8 students in that program and 4 that are participating in mainstream classes and doing well. Another celebration and a thank you, I want to do a shout out to I thought it jumped on me. Amy Jurgens and Kari Krein over at Lincoln School this year took on some additional responsibility, and I want to recognize them for that. They've done that willingly and have really moved into some real positive programming for our kids. For ECSE, we started an AM and PM functional skills class. Really beautiful progress with our littles participating. I got to go and observe a friend moving into his preschool class, and he just did such a beautiful job then participating and engaging then with his preschool class after a session with the functional skills class. They also added on serving kindergarten students with the movement of first grade over to Lincoln School. The additional caseload needed to be divided up among our ECSE teachers to help with some of those services. Both their caseloads are now full, and they're pretty busy, but doing a really great job over at Lincoln. The high school transition program with Lisa Miller. Right now we have 13 students that are in 12th grade or beyond, some of our super seniors, getting out and doing more work-based learning experiences, which also has been phenomenal, and we're really excited to see. The one focus area, and will continue to be, and probably the area I'm working on and answering questions about and supporting the most, is behavior. Really trying to give our teachers, our paraprofessionals, tools for de-escalation in special education. We are using 2 strategies, behavior programs that we do have trainers trained in. One is CPI. Our 2 trainers in that are Kevin Frank and Rachel Ryan. They do 2 to 3 trainings a year, 1 full day of training for new staff. Typically, there's anywhere from 25 to 35 people participating in that training and working on de-escalation strategies. Our newest strategy, though, is UCARU training. We have 2 trainers for that as well. They are Rebecca Wynn and also Sydney Hansen. And Sydney, actually, this Wednesday is offering an all-day training for 8 new special ed paraprofessionals and some veterans that haven't had it yet. And so those strategies have been super helpful. I'm happy to report this year our first quarter restraints are down to 2. Record. I mean, just phenomenal that as you know, only emergencies do we put our hands on kids, and we're really keeping that to a minimum. So that's a really great improvement. So that's my update. Any questions?
Are there any questions? It sounds very positive.
And busy.
And very busy. Thank you, Nancy. Our next report is from Derek Abrams, the Activities Director. Good evening, Derek.
Good evening. I did share a report earlier today, and you have one in front of you. The printed one has a couple updates on it since this afternoon, but very, very positive fall that we've had in all of our activities. From even at the very top of that page when it talks about numbers, again, maintaining our numbers throughout. While many schools, it feels like, especially on the girls' side, again, the numbers are decreasing. Ours continue to increase, or at least hold their own. So again, very healthy, and I don't include the middle school on here, but middle school numbers are also very high in all of these activities. So that bodes very well for our future. As far as accomplishments on the athletic side, It was one of the better falls that we've had actually in our history, just looking at successes. And what's really exciting about that is we really didn't know what to expect this fall. It wasn't one of those where we felt like we were the favorites in all of these things and we were going to do that. Girls tennis, just to start off with them, we knew they'd be pretty good. But the fact that what they did in the regular season to go on to state, and that got cut off on there, they were the consolation champions. Their only loss down at state was to Rock Ridge, and we lost 4-3 in the first round based on the seeding. Rock Ridge went on to win 7-0 and 6-1 on their way to the championship. We won our consolation matches 6-1 and 5-2. So I think it's safe to say we're probably in the top 2-3 at the very most in the state. So they did a phenomenal job. Our football team, which did also go to state, which I'm sure you're well aware, the big, I don't know if it's a surprise, but going from 3A to 4A, jumping up a class, whole new schedule, new opponents, not playing the schools around here anymore. We're traveling 2 hours to get there, and just in that 4A and to have the season that we did and to again compete at the state tournament was a great accomplishment. And just looking down at the state participants, we had more state participants this year than we've had at least in my 10 years, and looking back on our records, it probably has to be close to the most, especially when you include the teams, football and cross country, or football and girls tennis. We had high finishers in state as well, not just participating there. Hattie Fullhart and Dylan Lill competed as a doubles team, and they won the consolation in individuals. Ashton Lill and Ruby Ellison finished third for doubles. And Cassie Wellman and Carson Lill both participated in girls cross country, both getting all state. Cassie finishing 6th, Carson finishing 21st, and she went straight there. Well, actually, she went straight to sections the week before from the state tennis tournament, because she also participates on the tennis team and was on that state team. We also had quite a few swimmers, actually 10, that qualified for the state tournament, and our relay team of Olivia Jensen, Estee Versteeg, Riley Kubla, and Ella Kwapinski. Olivia's back here. Broke a school record in the 400 free at the state tournament. So that was a lot of fun to watch. I like to talk about more so the academic side and sportsmanship. There's been 6 sports so far that have reported to the CLC. We have won 4 of the sportsmanships again. So our lead continues to grow in the CLC on sportsmanship trophies. And again, if you look at the standings, all of these teams did fairly well. So it's not like these are last place teams that are, oh, here's, you got the sportsmanship. They're doing well, and they're being good sports too. So to have 4 more, maybe a couple more by the time this is done was phenomenal. Nobody else had more than 1. But academics, 3 of our teams, volleyball, tennis, girls swimming, and diving, all got the gold standard for team academics. In fact, I think it's like 3.9 something for swimming and tennis, which is absolutely phenomenal when you take the average of all players on the team. And volleyball also qualified. Individual academics, these were all state. Individuals with all state. And then we also have one for conference, which is called Scholar Athletes. These are any seniors, and it's only seniors, and they have to earn a letter and maintain a 3.4 career GPA. And we had 32 seniors qualify for that this year too. So it's all of it's being done on the fields, on the courts, in the pool, but also in the classroom and with the sportsmanship. On the back, again, our CLC All Conference and Honorable Mention, which you can take a look at. You'll notice some people on there more than once, especially on the All Conference, but that's a swimming thing because they can get All Conference in each event they enter, and they can enter as up to 4. So they may have gotten All Conference in more than one event. And then also several coaching recognitions, which I'll go over very quickly. They do a phenomenal job for us. Rachel Cox was our girls swimming and diving Section 8AA Coach of the Year. Her assistant, Jen Jensen, was the Assistant Coach of the Year. For football, district, and we're in the Skyway District now, which is a 4A district with mostly city schools. Chris Grabowska was named our Coach of the Year, with Shane Tilkey as the Assistant Coach. Kevin Feldbaum in boys soccer was the CLC Boys Assistant Coach of the Year, and Jamie Lill, the 8AA Coach of the Year for tennis. One last thing to go over real quick, our fine arts. Again, just walking the hallways tonight, and I'll talk about our visual arts. with a band concert tonight, with all the artwork up, attending the musical last weekend, it still amazes me the absolute talent we have in our students in this school. It's not just athletics, it's when you watch them on stage, and a couple of them are athletes that are also doing that, and then many of them that will be in the band concert tonight, as well as the visual arts, which is unbelievable. So our musical, first of all, is Matilda this year. Everything about the production was excellent. It's obviously our students, and quite a few are sitting behind me here, did just an unbelievable job, very entertaining. But when you look at the set, when you look at the production, when you look at the music, it's a professional job all the way through and through. So again, congratulations to our directors and students on that performance. We did have middle school band last week, but then now tonight is high school band, and over the next few weeks until the Christmas break, all of our bands or all of our music groups will have their concerts, high school and middle school, which again are always very entertaining and very well done. And visual arts, we're seeing a big increase in our in art shows. And Becca Kruger, who has taken over our high school art program, tonight there's one, so if you can get over to the school, if you can get done with the meeting and I stop talking here, they have art displayed all throughout the hallways tonight before the band concert. She's trying to do that each trimester, doing more than just the blondeau that we do in the spring. And so just walking the hallways again, and this was our high school and ALC students, so really trying to get that artwork out there, and it really is phenomenal. All right, I can take a breath. Any questions you have for me on this fall?
I don't see anybody squeaking up.
All right,
So, thank you for the report.
thank you.
Next, we'll have John Steinbrenner, our principal at Lincoln School.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
It's kind of nice. It seems like 2 months ago the sun was shining in our eyes, and so here we
Not
are.
anymore.
Not anymore. Just a few updates here about Lincoln School. We've been busy learning and growing. Since we last met, we've recognized the 50th day of school. We've held some school-wide elections during the month of November. Cats versus dog, cheeseburgers versus pizza, the important issues.
Cats won,
I,
right?
I believe it was dogs. I believe. Of course it was dogs. And then this, excuse me, tomorrow we also have a guest from the Otter Tail County Historical Society coming to speak with us about Native American culture at 9:15. Got it, okay. Tomorrow we also have the Otter Preschool and ECFE Book Fair at Lincoln School, and that'll be a lot of fun. And then a special thanks to PTO for sponsoring an author's visit last week for our first graders. Stephen Shaskin, who is the author of the graphic novel series Pizza and Taco, was able to meet with our students from Lincoln, McKinley, Adams, so grades 1 through 3. So that was really a nice opportunity for our students, and special thanks to Tasha Rolls for organizing that. I want to speak a little bit to attendance here. So a quick percentages. I won't give you all of them, but just some highlights. It's important to note that 65% of students at Lincoln are above the 95% attendance for the first trimester. 23% are within that 90 to 95% range, and that is, that equates to about 3 to 6 days missed of school, and only 12% are below that 90% attendance rate. So I feel like the students at Lincoln and the families who are helping get their kiddos there are really recognizing the value of being at school. So overall, 88% of our students are within, having missed about 5 or fewer days. So feeling really good about that. Now, with regard to grade level literacy, had some nice conversations here over the last week with some of our teachers at the kindergarten and first grade level. We're continuing to utilize UFly and Heggerty with the purpose of those two series being letter recognition and phonological awareness and print awareness, and all of those are in line with the science of reading and the OLA training that our district is participating in. And these supplemental tools are paired with our Wonders reading curriculum that is still widely used across the elementary level. Reading is embedded within our practices throughout the day. So in the discussions that I've had, conservatively 2.5 to 3 hours a day at the kindergarten and first grade level, just because it starts right away with morning meeting and ends at the end of the day with story time. So just a considerable commitment of time focused on reading. With our first graders, we're also experiencing something that wasn't necessarily in place last year, but just that independent reading. So let's go to the shelf, find a book, get your bookmark, and begin reading. And students are really, it's nice for me to be able to see that, and I think it's also a nice model for our kindergartners too, as well as some of the journaling that they've been doing in first grade. We expanded our library offerings to include books appropriate for our first graders, and I know that all of our teachers there have appreciated that. And then story time remains central to our library offering, which is once a week for all of our students. At the Tier 2 intervention level, we identified 54 students at the beginning of this year who were either below or well below grade level achievement. And so those 54 students, we're beginning to work with those students. They get an extra 25 above and beyond what's already happening in the classroom. Of those 54, only 10 of those are first graders, just based on the work that was done last year. We really got the first graders to where they need to be, and now it's just a matter of continuing to support that and focusing in on our kindergartners who need a little bit more of a boost. With regard to reading, I talked a little bit about the Tier 2 interventions, but also a community effort. So the other piece of this that was really, I don't know how I arrived at it in my thinking, but we're really intentional still at Lincoln School about hosting guest readers, folks coming in from the community to be in classes, whether that's parents or just other community members who are invested in education. We partner with the public library and have scheduled visits from the children's librarian. They come out and they work with our preschool, our kindergarten, and our first grade. We also have Otter Cove's program, Otter Cove on the Go, which is also literacy-based. And as I mentioned, the author visit that was coordinated by the PTO. And then, again, hosting the book fairs, which is a big deal because it's putting books in front of kids. So I think not only are we at the school working really hard, but the community is supporting our efforts in that as well. Our next benchmark assessment is in January, and I think that will be, our school board meeting in February will be a really nice time to report on some of the intervention work that's being done right now. Okay, cool. That's what I have for my report tonight.
All right. What
Thank you.
questions do you have besides what time is the book fair?
Oh, tomorrow. Just right away after school. And
Okay.
if you need to get there during the day, because you do a pickup for preschool, it'll be open then too.
Hot dog. Thank you.
No.
All right. Next, we'll hear from Principal Scott Colbeck, elementary principal at Adams and McKinley. Good evening.
Good evening. Prior to the meeting, I gave you a handout. It kind of looks like this. Just wanted to talk about that a little bit tonight. I want to start with the district goal of achieving grade level literacy, and I'd like to just explain a little bit about this handout. I think this handout shows the good work of not only our students, but our staff who collect this data. And you can see, and I'll explain a little bit more, we'll get into the weeds a little bit about this, but when you look at this document, each line represents one student. And so this I took from one class from last year. And so if each line represents one student, you can see the growth of each student over the course of the school year. So when we talk about, sometimes you'll hear that we do universal screenings, and we do them in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end of the year, or the fall, winter, spring. You can see the various 1-minute timed assessments that we do with all of our students. When you look at this, blue is better than green, and green is better than yellow, and yellow is better than red. So the more blue and green we see, we're really excited about that. You'll notice that the benchmarks, that line at the very, very top of the document, right under the words beginning, middle, and end, those are what we refer to then as the benchmarks. That's what we're looking for each student to get to. And you'll notice that the benchmarks grow or increase as the school year goes along, as they should. I want to just talk a little bit about what some of these assessments are. LNF stands for letter name fluency. And then PSF is phoneme sound fluency. And then the NWF, CLS and NWF WRC, that is nonsense word fluency. Both of those together are the same assessment, but within that, you can evaluate the correct letter sounds, CLS, and then the words read correctly, WRC. And then there's another one that's called word reading fluency, and then you get to the oral reading fluency, and then within that same test, you can measure the correct words and then also accuracy. And so every student is pulled out of their classroom for probably 10 minutes to go through all of this with one of our interventionists. And I just want to mention our interventionists, who, by the way, are working with at McKinley School. We've identified 38 students at McKinley School who are receiving Title I reading support, and at Adams School, 35 students who are receiving Title I reading support. And those kids are served by Kayla Thompson at McKinley, who's seeing 32 kids, and Courtney Anderson, who spends her time between all three buildings. She's our Title I director or lead teacher, and she sees 6 kids at McKinley, but she also sees kids at Adams and Lincoln. And then at Adams School, we have our 35, it's either 35 or 36, because Courtney is also seeing 6 kids at Adams, and then Jessica Molstry, it's either 29 or 30 kids that she's serving. But you can see the amount of work that goes into this. So if you look at this document, and if you look at the column on the far right side, you would be able to go down that column and identify that there were probably 1, 2, 3 students from this particular classroom last year who were identified to start the school year receiving some intervention support. But that can also change over the course of the summer, because a lot of these kids that were, looking pretty great at the end of the year, there can be some summer slide. And that's why we do fall assessments. And then the kids that we think we're going to be serving in the spring of the year, the following fall, that can sometimes change. This is some pretty great data, and it speaks to that we know a lot about our kids, and we know which kids we need to be serving. And it's really fun to see the growth as you follow one student from left to right across the school year. You can see some of those reds turn to yellows, which turn to greens, which might turn to blues. So I just wanted to recognize all of our staff who we call our interventionists, and the good work that they do along the lines of achieving grade level literacy. We've talked about this before, but the majority of our staff in grades 1, 2, and 3 were trained last year through that training called OLA. OLA stands for Online Language and Literacy Academy. Those that weren't trained last year are going through that training this year. I went through it last year. It was excellent. And so that's just kind of what I wanted to highlight tonight when we talked about achieving grade level literacy. This just is a little bit of a picture of the work that goes into each individual student and how we can really drill down and know so much about each student in our school. And then if I move towards the other goal to visit about or talk about tonight is attendance. As you know, tomorrow ends our first trimester. There's 58 school days in our trimester, but I did ask Lynn Johnson, our truancy interventionist, to pull some data for us after 54 days of school. So this goes through last Wednesday, and what we learned is our attendance through the first 54 days of school is better at Adams than it is at McKinley, but there's an easy explanation for that. We have 2 first grade classrooms at McKinley, and some illness went through both of those classrooms. One of the first grade classrooms had about 10 kids gone all week. And so that really took a little bit of a hit on the attendance there. But just to give you an example, We had, at Adams School, 65% of our students met our goal of 95% attendance or better. And at McKinley, 58% of our students met that goal of 95% or better. I could, we have it broken down here. I think won't go through all of the specifics. But 65% at Adams and 58% at McKinley. Now, when the trimester ends on Tuesday, we'll look at the attendance again, and any student that had 3 absences or less through the first 58 days of school would be meeting that goal. And then one of the things that I do is I go into each classroom, we recognize those kids, we celebrate that, we give them an attendance charm, and we tell them, if you didn't get it this trimester, you have 2 more opportunities to do that. And we just keep talking about it, and we'll just keep talking about attendance and the importance of it. And 95% is it's a lofty goal, but it's also a very I think achievable goal. Okay, if I just move into recognize or some recognitions here, I just wanted to give a shout out to somebody named Carrie Tollerson. She very skillfully guided a 3rd grade classroom, took them from the very start of the year until recently when we had a teacher return from leave. And so thank you for her efforts. She also helped us out last year at the start of the school year. So she's just become a very important player in our school over at Adams over the past 2 years. And my hope is that I can get her back with us again this spring. I wanted to thank our McKinley staff for hosting a scholastic book fair last Tuesday. And that was from 3:15 to 7 in the McKinley gym. In particular, I wanted to recognize a couple new staff members who just decided they're going to take the lead on this and lead the charge, and that was 2nd grade teacher Claire Nemick and then our library para Maddie Godwin. We sold over $4,200 in books and product that night, which equates to about $1,900 worth of books for our library and classrooms at McKinley School. We had so much staff, volunteers, people step up, that when it was time to tear down the book fair at 7 o'clock, it literally took us 15 minutes. So it was just beautiful how quickly we were able to tear down. You heard Mr. Steinbrenner talk about the author. All of our kids in grades first, second, and third at both schools really enjoyed author Stephen Chaskin. Last week, both McKinley and Adams participated in a food drive for the Salvation Army, and we were able to combine, 2 schools combined brought in over 1,300 food items. So we're proud of our students and the effort there and how they're going to help our Salvation Army and the community. Also, you heard Activities Director Derek Abrahams talking about the good fall sports season. Whenever a team has a really good season and they win their section and they get to the state tournament as part of their state send-off, they come and parade through all the elementary schools. So 3 times this year, our students came out of their classrooms, lined the hallways, and cheered on the, I think in this order probably, the girls tennis team, and then sometime later the football team, and then the girls swimming and diving team. So we have a lot of fun with that. And it's not only enjoyable for little kids, but I think for the student athletes to walk through the schools that they once attended is fun for them. And then lastly, just want to let people know that tomorrow is the end of our first trimester, and then that means in the elementary schools our first trimester progress reports will go home with our students on Friday, December 5th. Friday, December 5th. Parents can start looking for that in their school, in their students' take-home folder. So with that, I would entertain any questions.
I just have one quick question. Could you clarify what the TO means
Yeah.
on these?
Test it out.
Test it out? Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. Thank you.
Any other questions for Principal Kolbeck? Thank you, Scott. Our next presentation will be from Ivan Hurst, Middle School Principal. Good evening.
Hello. Nice to see you all. First, I just want to take a few minutes to Talk about Middle School Knowledge Bowl. They have 3 meets every year. Claire Stish has been the advisor the past few years, and we had 17 students participate this year. And that's grown from just a few years ago. As you know, Knowledge Bowl is a combination of fast facts, whole knowledge, and math calculation skills, and a quick buzzer finger. So our teams are well-rounded. Ms. Stish commented the teams are well-rounded, and the competition was second only to the camaraderie of the students. Ms. Stish, that's exactly what I want to read. Our Veterans Day program at the middle school, we welcomed Patriot Assistance dogs from Detroit Lakes to the school, and anytime you can bring animals to a school, you're probably going to win, and that was the case here. One of the dogs named Captain Kirk was a hit, and we also had Charles as well. But Dawn Pupmacher came. She's the project manager from Patriot Assistance Dogs. Tony Carruthers is an Air Force vet, and his dog is Captain Kirk. He's on the board of directors, and Curtis Brown brought his dog Charles. He's a Navy vet. And Patriot Assistance Dogs provides highly trained dogs to highly trained certified service dogs to qualified military veterans at no charge. I just want to read just a little bit more here about that. They understand the unique challenges faced by those who have served, particularly those grappling with PTSD, TBI, and other mental health diagnoses. Our mission is to empower veterans to reclaim their independence and enhance their quality of life through the placement of highly trained service dogs. So really, they spoke. You know, they're not there to speak. They're there to serve their community, so they not super interested in talking for a long time, but that was really nice, and the kids really enjoyed that as well. I'm going to move on to district level, grade level literacy. The middle school strives to support all students in our literacy. Teachers in our ELA classes meet regularly in PLCs, reviewing data, best practices. They also collaborate on common assessments and review benchmarks and state standards. So they're having some really great conversations every month in their PLCs. We also provided all MCA tested areas a half a day so they could sit down and just talk shop. They've been doing that over here at Community Ed, and so the conversations that I've got to be a part of in all the areas tested, and that's science, reading, and math at grades 6, 7, and 8, has been really just fills me with I don't know, I just feel really confident in our teachers. They're talking through lessons and specifics, and I hope you have that same confidence in our teaching staff as well. They're really doing really great work. Also in the area of literacy, we offer reading intervention classes to students in grades 6, 7, and 8. In grade 6, it's our ADSIS program called RTI. This year they've been using a new curriculum called M-Class by Amplify. And this is an assessment and instruction system that we're using there. It also screens for dyslexia, which is a new MDE that we have to do that. We use that, like I said, in grades K through 6. At the 7th and 8th grade level, we have a class called Star Reading, and that's for some struggling learners in those grades. We have one section per grade level, so one section 7th, one in 8th, and that class is going to be less than 10 kids, so we can work on some skills specifically. And students in grades 7 through 12, they're going to use the CAPD dyslexia screener. Maybe you've heard about that, because we need to do that at that grade level as well. So that's a lot of the work, and I make it sound so easy and short, but it's really a comprehensive day-to-day conversation and lesson planning that they're doing. Mr. Kulbeck did, his sheets, and we're doing all those same things at grade 6, and we use a lot of that data, the screeners and so on, to make our homerooms and our advisories, so we can really make really great groups for our teachers, especially, like I said, advisory and homerooms in grade 6. I'm going to move on to average daily attendance. I'm going to cover that in the bar. Mr. Drake, did you get that email that I shared with you? You could say
PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be great.
You want me to call that up? Or?
I think you can start working on it, and I'm going to do a couple more things while you're doing that. Last month I talked about the customer service goal of a practice or protocol of our teachers being able to make parent phone calls, and we didn't get to that last month. We ran out of time, so we're going to work on that, and that'll be presented at the December meeting. So that's part of our customer service goal. And here's a big highlight, is we just ended up first quarter in the middle school. You know, we're the outlier now as we're still in the quarter system. But I want to talk about our honor roll, because it's really, you know, thank you very much. It's really easy to get focused on things that are right in front of us, but there's so much good working happening every day all throughout the middle school. And here's how many students, how should I say this? I listed it all for the report, but in grade 6, we have approximately 211 kids, and 172 of those made the A and B honor roll. That's like all of them. I mean, that's a lot. And so I'm really proud of that, because our students are meeting the expectations of our classroom teachers. We have a lot of kids doing it right. In grade 7, it's 132 out of about 190. And in grade 8, it's 112 of 200. So when I add up all those numbers, because I like numbers, and it's 69% of our middle school students have achieved the A and B honor roll. The teachers are telling us that they're doing the work that we're expecting them to do. I think that needs to be celebrated and noted and advertised. So, okay, so as you know, we've been talking about BAR quite a bit at the middle school, so I'm going to move into this presentation. I recently gave it at the County Collaborative. Anyone at that meeting? You got that one? No? Mr. Drake, you weren't at the last one, were you? This will be your first shot then. This will be good. I have a lot of stuff here. Am I only going to get one to go? Oh, there it went. Okay, so first we want to talk about our school at a glance. I'm gonna rip through this for you, because you know it all. We're grade 6 through 8. We're about 601 students, about 41 total FGEs in the middle school. This is our first year in BAR, using the BAR program. Our coordinator is Tracy Grabowska on about a 0.25, and I am your principal. Here's our student demographics. You can see the types of students that we have in our school. You know, we have a wide variety of students, and we need to meet all of their needs. We're collecting data in 3 areas. You know all this already. Our attendance, which our goal is 95% or better attendance, which is about missing 1 day a month. Our dispositions, which I'll show you some data there, and then grades. And that's how we decided to start, with grades, and that's the number of Fs that we have in our school. Okay, let's start with this. You could probably see that. That's not bad. Doing projects like this, I try not to leave like any rock unturned. And so I'm planning. So I have medical absences included. So if you had a medical absence, you were gone from school, you missed school. And then medical absence, they both say the same. On the left is medical absences. When you were gone, we counted you as absent. On the right, when you had a medical absence, we did not count that against you because you had a doctor's note. Okay? And you can see when we have a doctor's note, that means the student's not there for a reason that they can't control. So that's the number that I'm focused on this year, but I've been collecting all the data on each side. You can see our average the last 2 years was 64.7% on the right. Our goal, we want a 6% increase, and we just missed that in the 6th grade there. So we had about a 6% increase in Q1 over the average of the last 2 years. That's really great. I'd like to think that I had something to do with that, but when we get to the other data, then I don't want anything to do with that. You can see how much our average data, or how much our average attendances dropped the rest of the year. That's pretty significant. So this is 70.6% of our students attended school 95% of the time. When we look at the average of the last 2 years, in second quarter, that average goes to 50.8. In third quarter, the average goes to 39.5% of our students are there remember, they only missed 1 day a month then. 2.25 days in a quarter. Oh, wow, okay, yeah, who knew, right? Here's 7th grade. We also achieved the goal in this grade. There's the average the last 2 years. There's our goal, and you can see if we use the right graph, 70.6. Heck, we almost blew that one out of the water by another percent. So really interesting. Here's our 8th grade attendance. We're on the right-hand box again, and you can see we didn't make our goal, but we did increase our student attendance over the last 2 years. It's probably I think there's some awareness there. We talked about that at our fall in-service. We talked about that with our teachers. We talked about that at class meetings. We hand out perfect attendance letters. We're really trying to bring attendance to the forefront, but you can also see how the rest of the quarters go. Quite a bit less than first quarter. First quarter is the best. Let's go into dispositions. This is a little more complicated because I made it that way, but I can't help myself. First quarter, our average dispositions was about 17. 0.08, that's a big long story. You don't want to hear all that. But I'll tell it. If you want to stay after, I'll tell you all about it. And our goal was to reduce that by just a sliver, get that down to 13. That's what we're hoping for. You can see the quarter 2 data. This is 6th grade and the full year data on there as well. And you can see lunch detention, which we can do with permission from the parents. After school detention, ISS, OSS, we didn't meet our goal, but it was lower than the average of the last 2 years. Like I said, I can tell you more about those decimal points, but it is a big, long story. 7th grade, there was our goal. There, all the same data, but we were hoping for 12 or 10 as our goal. We made 17, a few more. And then 8th grade was the most. That tends to happen in the oldest grade level of a school. I've had that experience a few different times. But yeah, that's higher than it has been the last couple of years by quite a little bit. So we have this data now. We can work on this. We can talk about this. Here's grades. So what we did is we took our, we're checking our grades in conjunction with the activities office, so that when kids are, when we are checking it for activities, we're also checking it for bar. It makes way too much sense. So we did that. The bar really wants us to capture it every 2 weeks. And I said, well, we're going to do it every 3 weeks. And the first quarter here, we did not collect the first 3 weeks because we're just getting to know each other. So there really wasn't worth collecting that data, but we will every 3 weeks after that. You can see in 6th grade, here's how many Fs that were in the grade book on any one given time. And it was a decent number, and then I got less, and then I got a little more as grades got entered. Our goal was 42 or less total classes, 25 or less core classes. And that's not students, that's total Fs. Here's 7th grade. You can see the data there slowly decline throughout the quarter. Maybe we'll get off to a better start now. Teachers are aware of this data. This has all been shared with them as well. Our goal was 34 total Fs. We ended up with 39. 23 in the core classes. We ended up with 21. A little bit of both there. And then 8th grade. This one's fairly alarming. This was when this got displayed at the staff meeting, there was an audible gasp or two, because that's a lot of Fs, especially when you compare to 7th and 6th. It's not fitting very well. It did decline throughout the quarter. That was good, but we're expecting somewhere over the last 2 years, our 8th graders have done well first quarter. And didn't do very well. It doesn't match the other 2 grade levels. So we need to address them, and we are doing that. Okay. I-times are the character ed lessons that we are working on with our students. And our quarter 1 delivery, BAR it fits one of our core values, which success is a process. So how are we going to do it? How is it going to work at Fergus Falls Middle School? All the schools, nearly all the schools that I've spoke to are constantly tweaking and changing the data that they're collecting, how they respond to it, how they're delivering I-times, because they want to fit the needs of their school. And we're no different, because we need to try a few things to see what we think works best. Quarter 1 delivery in 6th grade, we did homerooms the first 4 weeks. So this is every week they get a lesson. Since those first 4 weeks, we've only done core classes. So Ms. Wagner teaches science, Mr. Ratz teaches science. They taught it for 4 weeks, and then they took their turn in teaching. When science was up, they taught the I-time in science. We do our I-times to get to know our students a lot better. No, that should be a next meeting. I'm going to do that at the next meeting. I'll tell you more about I-times. So there's the plan. In 8th grade advisory, we did advisory the whole quarter. BAR recommends doing it in all core classes. That's where they want the I times to be delivered. In this quarter, we changed it up a little bit. In sixth grade, we're going to go the 4 core classes plus 1 homeroom session. So let's use Miss Wagner on the gold team. She'll teach it on her science turn, and she'll also teach it on the homeroom turn. And then she'll teach it on the science turn again. So she'll do it 3 times in the quarter. In 7th and 8th grade, we did the 4 core. So we left advisory, and we went to the 4 core classes. And we did 1 advisory, which will work out to be the week before the holiday break. We're going to do that one in advisory, and we'll do kind of some fun things in advisory. Block meetings, you know about the block meetings. Teams, we have teams in 7th and 8th. We have 2 teams in 6th, 1 maroon, 1 gold. Well, small block meetings, remember small block is where we talk about students in the 0 or 1 class. 0 is no adult intervention needed. 1 is 1 adult intervention needed. That's the students that we talk about at small block. If a student is deemed to need more than 1 adult intervention, then the student would be moved to big block. Big block meetings happen on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on the team and grade level. Students, so that's 2 in big block, 2 adult interventions. If they get moved to a 3, then they're Community Connect, and that's our middle school SAT team. And we meet every Wednesday morning, and we talk about a lot of kids, but we also talk about all of our level 3 kids that have been referred to us throughout the process. And that's it. No clapping. That's it. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I know we just started the bar this year, but when you talk about the difference between the Fs in 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, it'd be interesting to see year after year to do a longitudinal study. So you're comparing the same class that was in 6th grade last year, then 7th grade this year, and 8th grade next year, to see how that class does. I know every class seems to have its own personality. Some classes are very good at athletics, some are very good at fine arts, some of them are good at academics, some of them are good at more than 1 or 2 things. But every class has its personality, so it'd be interesting to see a longitudinal study of that as you continue down the path of bar.
Yeah, thanks, Kirby. So by some level of chance, when we did the last 2 years of study, we can go, I have all the data for this 8th grade current cohort from 7th grade. Does that make sense? And it's kind of matches. Yeah. And so on that particular cohort that doesn't seem to match, it shows, you know, I call it diagonally, but longitudinally.
All right. Any other questions for Principal Hurst? All right. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
We'll hear now from Principal Mark Anderson, High School Principal, ALC, and IQ Academy. Good evening.
How's it going today?
Good.
All right. I'll start with IQ. As you know, they went to 3 different technology implementations this year. They're working hard. They're still getting through some of that to continue to best support the students and, of course, management with the students and their coaches, which obviously are their parents. They'll continue to go through that. So hopefully as we get through the year, that'll be a daily norm. And next year they'll have it down when they start the school year. Under grade level reading literacy. So this will be a theme you'll hear from both IQ, ALC, and the high school. The high school, or the ALC and IQ both qualify for Compass support through MDE because of attendance and MCA scores. And since I'm the principal of all 3 buildings, I figured, you know what, it's a great opportunity for the high school to get the same training through me and then use it as we go through some of the other things. So IQ is working with their leadership team, and Ryan, I, and Carrie met last Thursday. We meet every once a month with Shay from Lakes Country, and we're going through a comprehensive needs assessment. So we're going through some things ourselves, collecting data, getting information, looking at data that she shares with us, and then throwing back information to her that she has to kind of go through our unlegible writing and put in a spreadsheet for us to go through and look at how we're going to kind of do an umbrella of how are these things all affecting kids, and do we see the same trends happening in all 3 settings, not just one. So we'll go through that process this year. The second half of elementary and special education teachers are going through their science and reading training, so they'll continue to do that as they go through the school year. So Ryan will be looking at some of the data there. with me and him and Shay to go through so they can finish that science or reading training. The barriers and challenges takes time, obviously we have to have the ability to look at data, go back and let teachers see the things that we're being asked to look at, share with them, and then we also have to make sure that we're collecting information from students and then parents. So Ryan will be working on a survey, I say survey, it's a form, Google form to go out and get information on, just to collect some information additionally from what we did last year, and to get the leadership also expectations on some of that, and start getting some of the CNA work that needs comprehensive needs that will go throughout the school year. So this will be a 3-year process for them, as it will be for the LC in high school. The next part is average daily attendance. Lynn is going to have a blast with this because Stride has said yes to Ryan poking and prodding to approve for attendance truancy specialist at the IQ Academy. Lynn was like not sure how she was going to do this, so they're working through that process, which is good for them, and also kind of fits the needs that how they do school and the expectations through that. So Ryan was meeting with William and Teresa, and they were previously denied that opportunity to get this, so they're working on adding that and getting that going. I know Ryan has been spending a lot of time helping make phone calls to families in support of the classroom, so he's excited that someone else will be taking over some of that from him as he moves forward, and then we'll be able to collect some data on some of the things that they're doing. A lot of their data and attendance obviously is from homeroom check-ins, their weekly check and connect with their staff members for their lessons. So they'll put a plan together, and I'll be able to share some of that information as we move forward. And to continue to work with Stride and for allocations in other positions that are possible in making that opportunity for IQ better. But we're excited with the truancy and attendance specialist. In his marketing, again, with the comprehensive needs assessment, we'll use some of the information we collect from that and some of the data, some of the information we collect from Google Forms from both students, parents, and his staff, and making some adjustments into how we're going to sell IQ Academy for those who are looking for the online experience, not just around this area, but throughout the state, as more and more high schools specifically and middle schools are looking to go that direction also. I know there's a couple that just popped up here recently this last year in conversations with Ryan, so we want to continue to make sure that our families know that we are out there. We've been out there for a while and are one of the best online programs for families to connect with as they move forward. Ryan is also going to have an opportunity. They're looking at the skating piece here in Fergus coming up in December. They're also looking to do some online reading around the activity here right before the holidays. And the kids will get to pop into classrooms and go to the places they want that are specific to interests of reading for themselves. And then staff will read to them. It's an opportunity to connect with them, and not only in the reading content for the love and enjoy of it, but also for the opportunity for families to hear the kids being read to in the classrooms. I'm looking forward to possibly getting on the ice and not falling down when they come to Fergus this time. Ryan's asked me the last couple of years, and I told him this year I would find a way to make it happen. So I haven't been on the ice with skates for a long time. ALC, Carrie would like to make a big shout out to a group of people who came into the American government class to speak. Jordan Rasmussen, Kirby Anderson, Commissioner Sean Sullivan, Allison Strock, Eric Osberg, and Dan Scogan came in and spoke about their positions in on boards and such, and it was awesome. The kids have greatly appreciated it. It offered them the opportunity to understand the importance of civic responsibility to your community, and it never starts too early. So we have kids who are looking and thinking about that, as we see young men and women sitting behind me from Mr. Solin's class here tonight, correct? All right. She also would like to thank Berkeley Pajari for bringing the Indigenous Drumming Group and Ricky White to the school. She'd also like to thank her for taking our group of Indigenous students to the powwow in Detroit Lakes. They had a blast. Berkeley has been an amazing hire for us. She really has stepped in and taken our American Indian Indigenous peoples program to the very next level and is always pushing to make it better. In the achievement reading, like I said, Carrie is also part of the Compass through MDE, and is working with both myself and Ryan going through that training. So the comprehensive needs assessment in the reading area is being focused on. They do have some data that they've done specifically at the LC, and fluency is strong, but comprehension is not. So knowing that, Carrie is working with Shay at Lakes Country, figuring out how that's going to play into their goals and expectations when we get into setting goals through the comprehensive needs assessment with the English department, both Ms. Salakar and Mr. Johnson down at the LC, along with Carrie. They're looking to determine a baseline, and what they mean by that is what is the area that they're going to focus on? Is it going to be an area, or are they going to focus on a grade level and then expand and build from that on a year-to-year basis? So they'll go through that piece. They're seeking data monthly, not only from that comprehensive needs assessment, but also for their MERS data that connects with kids about failures and attendance and things like that are going on in their lives. They've implemented a vocabulary building activity that they do in each of the classrooms, focused on some of the building of content in reading. The baseline for students is still needed in some of the comprehensive assessments they're looking at, and the time to test students. And Shay from Lakes Country Service Cooperative is going to be working, like I said, with Carrie and the English department down there to kind of figure out what their next steps are going to be. Attendance, I gave you the sheet for the LC. It looks really good. The students are attending quite well, and one of the things that Lynn didn't want to email this and make a big announcement about, but they have a perfect attendance for 2 students if they hold up through tomorrow. They made it today. Hopefully they come tomorrow. They'd have perfect attendance, and we're excited about that. One of them is a student who has not been in attendance very regularly in the past and has found his groove as a junior in high school. So we're excited for him and for the things that are going on down there to want him to be in the building. And you can see 9th grade for both the 9th all the way through 12th grade, front and back. One side just talks about with medical and one without medical. So the attendance down there looks a lot better than it did last year. I know they're really focused on it and really focused on moving forward, getting kids to come and stay in the building. So we'll continue to do those type of things and look at our data. I know Carrie's working hard with her group of students down there, their leadership council, on how to make opportunities down there enjoyable, maybe add some little bit of fun things during their advisory that kids want to be part of. So it's going to be a great opportunity, and I'm looking forward to seeing the kids continually attend in the middle school. She does thank Miss Lynn for the work that she does individually working with students who are struggling possibly to come to school. But then when they start to come, she comes back down and supports them and gives them a pat on the back per se to say, it's nice to see you, thanks for coming, and we enjoy having you in the building. Carrie's also working with families directly, making contact. In our comprehensive needs assessment, we did find out that what an hour a day means and how is that formulated from MDE, and there might be some discrepancies. So because of the Compass discussion we had in September, there might be some changes to that. So we'll get that information as we get through the school year. And like I said, the ALC Leadership Advisory Council is working hard to get kids to come and stay in the building throughout the school day. With the marketing, Carrie is also working on the enrollment down there. So right now the ALC will be up 5 students from last trimester. All 5 will be coming from the high school. So we also have some students who want to come from out of the district, but because we just don't have the ability to meet their needs and have them connect with us. And also we have a number of our own students who are looking and requesting to go down that direction, and they're not quite ready in that manner of meeting some needs. So she's kind of holding a few spots for some kids in the possibility of the future. When it comes to third try, we usually send seniors down there who need the additional support who are behind credits. Right now, like I said, we're sending 5 students down there, a couple freshmen, a couple sophomores, and then I think we're sending 1 senior down. We have some art projects going on at the LC, watercolor, landscapes, cardboard houses. Pictures are below, so I'll share this with you. I was afraid to try to connect to Wi-Fi because the last time I did down here, it wouldn't do that, and I didn't have any access to anything. So there's some really cool pictures they're doing down at the ALC with their art. In Social Studies Department, they have a Greek theme party, a unit designed by a student teaching the class in the Socratic method. So they had an opportunity to go through and do some questioning, and they have a stock market game going on. So that was really cool, and they were really excited about that. Students stepping up and owning what's going on in class. On November 25th, if you're available, they would love to have you have some pie during advisory. Who's going to win this year to find out the annual trophy. And then they have an all-school bingo and an all-school bowling on December 19th. I was going to start with some of the fine arts things that we had going on, like Matilda and all the other things, but Derek beat me to that one. I would say this is, if you didn't get to go to the musical Matilda, congratulations to both our students and their directors. It was absolutely fantastic. It was a joy to watch. And now, as Derek said, we're getting into concert mode. The band is getting ready to fire up here in about 40 minutes, and then we have orchestra and music, or choir coming up in the next couple of weeks. I would like to thank one of our alum, John Pontius, for speaking at Veterans Day. I heard a lot of feedback from our students. It was the best Veterans Day program that they've ever attended. They truly enjoyed his message. It wasn't all about him. It was about service and expectations to your community, and I would agree with the students. It was probably the best that I've heard since I've come to Fergus. I also like to thank Mrs. Christensen's college writing class. They presented their community action reports, opportunities to hear from students on things that they have concerns about, things that they'd like to see improved, opportunities for us to hear their voices, and then the opportunity for us to show them that we heard them and sit down and listen to them as we move forward to see if we can make some of those things happen. Thank you to our students and student council for collecting food donations for our community. Our high school students 9 through 12 collected 1,242 pounds of food, just short of what we did last year. But the part that makes my heart warm is our students and staff donated $1,850 to the food. Instead of cans of food, they donated money. That is up by $1,100 last year. So our high school students and staff truly care about their community. Achievement in reading level and literacy. Like I said, some of the things we're working on are some of the same things that they're working on with IQ and ALC when it comes to Lakes Country Service Cooperative. We're working with Shay, working through that umbrella piece. What are things that our data shows that we can get better in? Some of the things that we're working on is student agency, engagement, and relevance in what we're teaching, especially in the reading. How does it go outside of the classroom? Our English department is doing pre and post tests with all our 9th and 10th graders. They've been doing that for a little bit, so they get to see where kids are at when they get in, and at the end of their 2 trimesters in each grade level. We have instructional frameworks that we use our best practices for, which has a connection to both writing and reading, marking text, having kids read, opportunities in the classroom to think at different levels and question each other in Costa's levels of thinking. We also have data collection. Our PLCs are working through one of the 5 instructional frameworks focused on, most of them in student resiliency and in agency. Our English department is working on engagement. What are the things that they can do that are best practices that will get kids in questioning, answering, and sitting and having conversations and thinking deeper when they're after they've read something in reflection. Our student engagement, also we want to have that opportunity. A lot of our departments are working through those things. What does it mean to be engaged in the building? How are we connecting life after us into opportunities, especially in our CTE? They're really trying to engage in the opportunity that when you present yourself, you are working on what it means to be connected to the people you're speaking to or working with in communication back and forth. Some of the barriers that we have, or challenges, is we only get to do PLCs once a month. So you're kind of set up, talk about it, and then you don't come back to it for another month. So some of the things we do has them adding things to the document on a monthly basis throughout that time. But opportunity to sit down more often would be awesome. The next steps, we'll review some of our data from our Compass and CNA work with Shay, and then we'll start sharing it with our leadership team, which then will go into our staff and start figuring out what is our data telling us, what is the information we need to know. And one of the things the high school students will soon get is a Google form from me about what are the things that you would like to see at the high school, getting information back from them. Tell us the good, tell us the things that you'd like to see improved, and then we'll sit down and work with some of our student council staff, student members, to sit down in groups and get additional information. And then we'll do the same thing with our parents, and then we have to do the same thing with our community. In our engagement, our student attendance, I also shared the high school document with you in there. Depending on what side you look at, I'll kind of go off of what Ivan said. I want to look at the side that says we might have 92 kids have perfect attendance. That would be really cool. That would be the most we've ever had. That means my hand's going to get tired writing my name on the certificates for them. So by looking at that, it looks like our attendance is doing really well. We'd like to see more than 95%, but we have a lot of kids in the 90% and above that are attending school, which is good to see. We're continually working on those things, getting kids engaged, staying engaged in the classroom and in our building, not just in class, but in opportunities that we have. One part we don't have any control over, which is a barrier, is we don't control whether students come or go to school. Mom and dad kind of have the ability to say yes or no to that. But as we are looking, it looks like our students are doing a great job this year attending school. One of the other things we looked at is marketing. So one of the things we're working on is getting ready for registration. We are working also on a new brochure for the high school that will be out before spring break, so we can share it with families in the community of all the great things that we offer in high school, IQ, and ALC. And also we'll have a special highlight of our career and technical education, which a number of our kids are love and want to get into as they are looking at a career out of high school instead of going into a 2 or 4-year college. We'll also have a PSEO College in the Schools night with parents. This year we're going to ask that they come. We're also going to ask that, not ask, we're going to also require that all students and parents have to meet with a counselor as part of that opportunity, no matter which one you choose, so they can have the face-to-face conversation with parents. And we continue to do our weekly activities in the classroom and share that with our weekly honor update, our seniors of the week, any honors our kids get, or our teams, and then anything that's happening that's really cool in our classrooms we share every Friday. Takes time to get those things put together, but it's fun to watch the things come in from staff and the pictures of the great things that our kids and staff are doing. The next part is, Derek talked about it, we had a great fall with all kinds of activities, winning all kinds of awards. We're now into the winter. Before some of the fall stopped, some of the winter ones already started, so it's awesome to see kids back out. Looking forward to some of the opportunities that we'll be able to go watch. As we talked about, band concerts tonight, choir concerts December 8th, December 17th is our orchestra concert, and one of the really cool days for us for 9th graders is coming up on December 2nd. We're going to take them all to the Fargo Dome for the Health, Tech, and Trades Expo. It's the one opportunity you get to see some of the kids who maybe not always are super excited about math and science, but see how that works in the classroom, and they get to sit on some of those pretty big tractors and actually make things work and pick up little things with cranes and such. So they're also hoping, the rumor is true, that NDSCS is back with their chef. He fed the place well last year, and kids went back a number of times, so they're hoping they're coming back along with a lot of health sciences and manufacturing. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment that kind of goes with your, you and Derek talking about
Yep.
service and what the great things that our students are doing in the community. And I know a family member said that they went to Ruby's Pantry this month, and it was our girls hockey team that was helping move groceries, and he said, and they moved, they had to work hard. And so just pass that on to, maybe Derek doesn't know about that.
I will.
I also wanted to make a note that the feed-a-thon specifically that I had organized, there were a ton of high school kids there, helping package, helping distribute. It was really, really awesome to see, so.
We have great kids.
All right.
All right,
Any
thank you
other
very much.
Thank you. Our last report this evening will be from Superintendent Jeff Drake.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
Our principals did a very comprehensive job of reporting tonight, and so much of what you're going to see may seem a tad repetitive to you, but I'll touch on a few highlights. Some thank yous to the Student Council for their engagement in wonderful food drive. Was mentioned already, but over 1,200 pounds of food and nearly $2,000 in donations, so appreciate that. Our students were an integral part of the United Way's recent luncheon as well. At the tail end of that luncheon, community members and a large contingent of our students packed 1,000 meals, and those are part of the Feeding Backpack program that go to support our own students and families. But even prior to that, that event was held on Thursday. The Wednesday, we had work-based learning students showing up during the day to help prep the site for the event. After school, we had a number of sports athletes that showed up to help move all the food inside the armory. And so again, just a lot of appreciation and pride. One of our goals in our Portrait of a Graduate is that we will have engaged citizens, contributing citizens, and our students are certainly making their presence felt in our community, and people are noticing and appreciative of it. Matilda, we've got several cast members here with us tonight, just phenomenal. My wife and I really enjoyed the performance. We had two children that were both very active in musicals and those kinds of things, and there's just a tremendous number of hours that go into that behind the scenes. So just want to recognize what a wonderful production it was and all the hard work that went in to make that happen. It was also mentioned tonight that we do have an art exhibit going on in conjunction with the senior high band concert at KSS. Thanks to Becca Kruger for leading that. And some congratulatory notes. The state swimming and diving, we sent athletes down in 11 of 12 categories. And congratulations to our record-setting 200 free relay. Tremendous job down there. And we have at least one of the athletes here with us tonight. So congratulations on a great trip to state. We had a signing day event, so congratulations to Hattie, Hunter, Parker, and Matthew for their commitment to participate in college athletics, and congratulations to those offers. It will be exciting to follow their progress in the future. And thanks to Derek for arranging that recognition. This was already mentioned before, but this gentleman does graphic novels, and he was a special guest in a number of our elementary school classrooms. Want to just point out some work from our food service department. We have Taste of the World coming up with China tomorrow, Italy on December 19th, and India on the 22nd of January. And then the indigenous meal was really pulled off on quite short notice, but I do want to thank Lance for his creativity. It was a really unique opportunity for students to taste some authentic Native American dishes, and there were enough made for about 50 meals, and those were all dedicated to students. So really appreciate his creativity and bring that opportunity forward. And then this is a note for both our staff and community. We have reached the season where we can get some weather announcements coming our way. We have one on the horizon starting tomorrow. And so as a reminder to the community, if a decision is obvious, then I do make every attempt to make it the evening before, but I would say that that is the exception rather than the rule. Most of the time, I try to wait until I have as much data and as much recent data as I can before making the call. I certainly have made some decisions where I wished I would have called school off and didn't, and I've also made decisions where I've called school off to see blue skies and beautiful sunshine the following day. So it is a little tricky. But in the event that I don't make the decision on the evening before, I make the decision by 5:30 a.m. On the morning of. And so there's a notification that goes out to a number of people in the community who like to know what the school district is doing, because it influences their own decisions on whether to have school or not. And then a number of media outlets also receive the notice, and then it will be posted on our school website, on our social media. And then for families or parents that subscribe, there's a notification that gets sent out as well. So we do try our best to keep people informed. Appreciate your grace and understanding. It can be a little challenging sometimes with changing weather conditions, especially in this part of the state where we have a lot of open country, and it does not take a lot of additional snow or an increase in wind speed to go from very drivable conditions to conditions where you do not want to be out on the roads. So we'll do our best to make those decisions promptly and accurately, and appreciate people's grace. So with that, I'll turn it over to any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for the superintendent? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to our business items. We have before us the general consent items, which include minutes from our last school board meeting on November 10th, and then bills and treasurers report.
All right, so Steve and I reviewed bills for November 11th through November 30th. Invoices that were paid out for this period of time included 1.4 million out of the general fund. That included items of note, some wish list items that are going to be reimbursed by the 544 Foundation. We also had our final fiscal year 25 payment for IQ Academy that went out. That was about $826,000, and then $285,000 in payroll. We also had $54,000 in our food service fund in invoices, about $6,000 out of the community service fund, $1,000 out of the construction fund, $300 out of the trust fund, $77,000 came out of the student activities fund, and $67,000 of that were for the music trip. I did want to make a note that it seems like now that they have moved the trip to New York, although we had some families drop out, they're having a lot of new families sign up. So expanding it to be a bit more accessible seems to be paying off. So our total invoices paid out for this time period was about 1.5 million.
All right, thank you. We have some personnel activity. We have certified staff hires, Allison Kohler, long-term sub, Catherine Scherfenberg, ESL teacher, Lori McNally, a FX teacher, just had a slight addition to her contract. Overload contract is Leah Kowalski. She's going to do more than her full-time job and get some additional pay for that. And then one support staff hire, Brianna Lewis as a para-educator. So with that, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So I'll second that.
All right, any discussion on those items? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved. We'll move down to new business. I would entertain a motion to adopt revisions to current school board policies on leaves of absence and extended leaves of absence, video surveillance other than on buses, and public data and data subject requests.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Missy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion on that motion? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved. We have, and this is more or less a public service announcement, first reading of the new school board policy on the Minnesota paid leave policy. That does not require board action, but it just alerts the community that we are looking at adopting that policy. If you want to see it, will be on the school webpage. First reading of the new school board policy on policy implementation. That's a good one. First reading of new school board policy on administrator code of ethics.
If anybody wants to look those up, there are number 411, 305, and 306.
Right. So, as always, reference the,
Can I clarify?
yeah.
305 and 306 are not on our website. These will be brand new board policies, and so you can't look it up on, yeah.
Okay. So, take that one step further.
Okay.
Where are people going to see it? Is it going to be in the minutes or?
It's in the board packet, isn't
It
it?
was in the board.
Yeah,
The public.
the public board packet, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Very well. All right, thank you. All right, next item of business, I'll be entertaining a motion for 26-27 high school course proposals. And we received information on a variety of new courses. I don't believe I need to read each of them individually, but I would look for a motion to approve those
I'll move.
proposals. You'll move? All right.
I'll second.
All right.
I'll second.
Any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the proposals, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, thank you. And the next is a resolution establishing combined polling places for multiple precincts and designating hours during which the polling places will remain open for voting for school district elections not held on the day of a statewide election. I will end cap this resolution, meaning I'm going to read the main gist of it and then ending of it. And then the full resolution will be on in the minutes. It would be noted that this is an annual resolution that we pass just in case we need a special election. At this time, we do not have one planned, but it is necessary to have this established in the event that something happens. So, be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District Number 544, State of Minnesota as follows. Number 1, pursuant to Minnesota Statute 205A.11, the precincts and polling places for school district elections are those precincts or parts of precincts located within the boundaries of the school district which have been established by the cities or towns located in whole or in part within the school district. The board hereby confirms those precincts and polling places so established by those municipalities. Number 2, pursuant to Minnesota Statute 205A.11, the board may establish a combined polling place for several precincts for school district elections not held on the day of a statewide election. Each combined polling place must be a polling place that has been designated by the county or municipality. The following combined polling places are established to serve the precincts specified for all school district special and general elections not held the same day as a statewide election. And following that colon, the combined places will be the public library, the YMCA, M-State, and Bigwood Event Center. So I will state in conclusion, as required by Minnesota Statute Section 204B.16, Subdivision 1A, the clerk is hereby authorized and directed to give written notice of new polling place locations to each affected household with at least one registered voter in the school district whose school district the polling place has been, or polling place location has been changed. This notice must be non-forwardable notice mailed at least 25 days before the date of the first election to which it will apply. A notice that is returned as undeliverable must be forwarded immediately to the appropriate county auditor, who shall change the registrant status to challenged in the statewide registration system. So I will offer that resolution and move for its adoption.
I'll second that.
And is there any discussion from the board regarding that? In summary, if we want to have an election, you'll get something in the mail 25 days in advance telling you where your location is to vote. All right, anything further? Then clerk, please take the roll.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Kelly Graff.
Yes.
Jenny Christensen.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. Melanie Cole.
Yes.
Stephen Biggessa.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted.
All right, thank you. That does conclude our business for this evening. The board will stick around. We're going to talk about contract negotiation update and discuss policies. As you know, we've got some things in the cooker there. Next meeting will be on Monday, December 8th, here in this room. And in addition to our regular school board meeting, we will have a technology plan and internet safety policy meeting. And we will also have Truth and Taxation, is what it used to be called, but now it's called Fergus Falls Public Schools Taxes Payable 2026. So the meeting will begin at 5:15, and for the taxes payable 2026, we will adjourn our regular meeting at 6 o'clock, have that meeting, and then continue with the rest. Listed on our notice was a tax abatement request meeting that we were going to have, but we're going to boost that into January. So there we go. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
And the second?
Second.
Any discussion on adjournment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.